27, Kodiak, 3 Charlie, runway 20, and 1.
The new Kodiak, it's very exciting. We're very excited to see the new Kodiak coming a reality. It's going to serve the market in a very different way. The value proposition is fantastic. It is a nice combination of speed and that adventure feel that everybody is very keen on the Kodiak 100. So we are going to have with the new Kodiak the perfect blend of what is the next adventure. I'm Nicolas Chabert. I am currently the Senior Vice President for the Aircraft Division at Daher, which run the two programs that we have, TBM and Kodiak. The history of Daher is very long. It's more than 160 years old company, 1863. And in fact, it's also the oldest manufacturer with continuous operation in the world. Morane-Saulnier was created in 1911. So both the family Daher and the aircraft business have been long-standing businesses. Daher's mission is to serve the customers. They serve it through logistics, building parts that's serving the major aviation OEM, but it's also serving directly the customers with our own products, and that's the aircraft mission.
The Kodiak 100 was really born out of the need for a modern-day bush airplane. It came out of the backcountry and humanitarian aviation. It's probably the most versatile airplane that I'm aware of, and it's used in a wide range of missions, from owner-operator to special missions to commercial operations to governments all around the world. So it's become a workhorse and a favorite aircraft of a lot of people.
Well, the TBM and the Kodiak fits very well. Number one, because they are not alike. One, of course, represents more the speed and ultimate vehicle for these owner pilots. But the Kodiak is also representing the adventure for this same group, and also serves a wider special mission and utilitarian type of customers. So these two products complement each other very well.
We realized that there was really a need for a bigger, faster, more capable Kodiak 100. Of course, Daher purchased the company in 2019. They've made the TBM and are masters of speed. And so between the TBM product line within Daher and then the Kodiak 100 and our knowledge base in Sandpoint, we really combined all of that knowledge, and we brought it into the new Kodiak design.
The original Kodiak was very much designed as a bush plane, and that's the niche that it was designed for. It's very good at that. What was determined was that there was a market for an airplane that wasn't maybe quite optimized as much for the short and rough field performance, but had faster cruise performance and was more comfortable to ride in. So that was really the goal for this airplane.
So we really feel like it's a really great airplane to fit between the Kodiak 100 and the TBM 960.
The new Kodiak is going to be one of the fastest non-pressurized single-engine turboprops. It's quite fast, and it still maintains a lot of its STOL capabilities. So that's pretty revolutionary. If you think about it, you have an airplane that can loiter at 80 knots, or it can sprint to 210 knots.
So the original had a maximum takeoff horsepower of 750, and then the cruise max continuous power was 700. And this one's 900.
The PT6A-140A is the highest power rated small PT6 that Pratt & Whitney has come out with. Everything from the shape of the inlet to the shape of the cowl to how the inlet ducts for the oil coolers are routed and so forth. Everything is optimized for speed.
When we look at the aerodynamics, the Kodiak 100 was never intended to be a fast airplane, and so there were some things that were real easy to look at and say, well, we can make less drag by adding wheel pants.
We had designed the wheel pants knowing that we needed to reduce the drag a lot and that the wheel pants would be a big help in that area. And we did our first flight with them, and it was really quite disappointing. We were not able to get over 200 knots. There was just something that didn't quite look right about them, and a lot of times you find that if something doesn't look right, it probably isn't.
And so, per one of our engineers' requests, I ended up modifying the attachment of how that wheel pant was attached to the airplane. We dropped it 2 1/8 of an inch down.
In like a day and a half, we had taken off the wheel pants. Ron had fabricated up a fitting to lower the wheel pants and maintain the clearance. We had him back on the airplane, and Kevin and I were out flying, and it bought us another about 4 to 6 knots of airspeed. It was huge, huge deal.
The increase in speed from the original Kodiak fairings to the new Kodiak fairings was about 20 knots. And I think that the wheel pants are probably responsible for about 14 of that. With the 210 knot cruise target, it was very important to try and reduce the drag as much as possible. So we spent a lot of time inside the engine compartment redesigning the oil coolers, making sure there was a way for the air to get out of the cowling after it got in a smooth way, so that it wasn't interrupting the flow on the outside.
The fuel system on the new Kodiak is actually completely redesigned. It uses what's called the motive flow system, so that you get motive flow, high pressure fuel coming back from the engine. It goes into something called a jet pump at a high speed, and that draws fuel from your tank and then delivers it back to the engine. The precise sizing of that and getting it to be exactly what you want, there's an iterative loop in there, and there's a lot of careful modeling and design work that goes into sizing the system just right. And so to get to basically the first engine run and see it perform exactly the way we wanted, and actually better than I anticipated, was very rewarding.
I actually flew the first flight on this airplane, Kevin Brenneman and I, February 28, 2020. It was a great day here in Sandpoint for this company, and also it was a fun first for me and for Kevin as well.
We're flying. Flaps coming to 10.
At the beginning of this program, there were questions about, well, we've optimized for speed. I wonder if the performance in climb is really going to drop off compared to what we're used to.
The performance really knocked our socks off. The climb rate really was far exceeded what we know for the Kodiak 100, which itself is a great performer. And the speed really kind of caught us off guard as well for this airplane. We designed for it. We had built for it, and the numbers told us that would happen, but not until you really get in the airplane and fly it and see the number on the screen do you believe it. So that first flight was really a great milestone for us. It flies as well at 70 knots at the slow end of the spectrum as it does at 210 knots at the high end of its spectrum. It's got great handling, slow speed, and the landing pattern, in the climb, and just in cruise. So it was the whole package that we had set out to create from the beginning.
It shoves you back in your seat, and it keeps accelerating and accelerating, and you rotate and you're looking at the sky and you think, okay, it's going to start slowing down like airplanes often do as you rotate and pull back, but it just keeps accelerating. The performance is phenomenal. Even though it has a higher fuel consumption rate, the performance is so good. You get to altitude much faster and level off, so you actually burn a lot less fuel getting to your optimal cruise altitudes. Once you're there, you're really moving quickly.
So the true airspeed goes up as you go up in altitude, which is why it's much, much faster in terms of true airspeed. So we are actually getting about 210 knots maximum cruise speed at 10,000 feet with this airplane.
This airplane stalls roughly at about 64 knots, which is not much faster than an airplane half or 1/3 of its size. Those aircraft, you can kind of be off for a ride. In this airplane at the stall, it's benign, it's very forgiving, and it allows the pilot time to input the controls that recover from the stall and go flying again.
People look at the beautiful exteriors of cars or airplanes and go, ooh, that looks fast, but there's a significant role in what's called internal drag. So how ducting is routed through, how carefully you expand the flow to slow it down, how you neck it back down, and how it exits the airplane. And there's a lot of art and design expertise that goes into getting that to work just right. And I feel like we've really hit that on the new Kodiak.
Well, as we say, safety is our priority. We think that way. We're in GA, and we have to work with a very large variety of users and operators, and that's a challenge for us. So we use technology to make sure that we make our product always safer. And everything that we have introduced has always had a component of safety for the last 10 years that I've been running the aircraft division. That has been always a constant in our product evolutions.
The new Kodiak is, Part 23, Amendment 63 certified. So it's certified to the latest and greatest and most modern standards. But again, everything that's safety related is standard on the airplane. Synthetic vision, Garmin autopilot with full ESP and level mode protections. Everything that we do, from our engineers to our production and our quality department, even to our flight ops department and deliveries department, everything revolves around safety within Daher.
For our corrosion protection, you start with the skins, right? The outermost piece of the airplane. Once it's been allodyne, then we primer it. So effectively on the skin for the airplane, we have 3 layers of corrosion protection on each side. So once you put those 2 skin layers together, you effectively have 6 layers of corrosion prevention. Once you have all that assembled, then we paint on top of that, and there's multiple layers as well as a top coat finish. So we have multiple layers of protection right there, so we don't have to worry about corrosion, because we want our planes to be able to go anywhere.
Because the airplane has a higher stall speed, we had to recertify the seats. The seats are designed to withstand a 26G forward deceleration, which is right at the limit of survivability for a person. So we are basically to the latest standards on this airplane, and that is where we start with safety. And then from there, there are certain aspects of the flight characteristics where we have said, for example, that we really want something better than the way it is, because we feel like that would be better for the pilots and safer.
The peace of mind for the TKS system is that the system is very robust, and I've watched the system work in really heavy icing conditions. We would go out into icing conditions purposely looking for the heaviest, worst kind of icing conditions that we could find, and we turn on that system and watch that ice just slough off. When you need it, it works very well.
We have a 100% inspection policy here at Kodiak. Everything that's put together, our quality personnel looks at and signs off on, which translates to a very, very safe aircraft. When it's going out the door, we know that it is the best product that we could be giving the customer, and it's, I mean, a really cool product just at that. I would say it's probably one of the highest levels of quality control I've been around.
One thing I'm anticipating the most, and I can't wait to show the marketplace, is the all-new interior on the new Kodiak. We spent a lot of time polling customers and talking to passengers and really trying to understand what people liked, what people would like improved from the Kodiak 100. And we really incorporated a lot of changes into the new Kodiak.
Daewoo's done an excellent job in refining little qualities of the Kodiak towards what they do with the TBM. You'll find that the new interior seating is elegant, but it's still rugged. It's still rugged like the Kodiak 100's interior.
We wanted maximum flexibility in the interior. And so the same seat, the same passenger seat in this new Kodiak can be installed facing forwards, facing backwards. It can be installed in a double club configuration. It can be installed in a commuter style configuration. It gives the operator that maximum flexibility to get all 8 of those passenger seats in the back, or not all 8 of those seats, maybe just 2 of those seats or none of those seats, doesn't matter. We wanted to give the customer that complete flexibility.
It's just 2 quarter turns and you can move the seats anywhere. So I did a test and I had all 8 seats out of the back compartment in less than 10 minutes. It was so simple. I had them all back in less than 10 minutes. You know, we also even thought about the small things. So every single seat station now has USB plugs. All of the headset jacks are LEMO jacks, so there's no need for batteries anymore. Everybody has plane powered headsets. We really took the best of the auto industry and we really tried to bring it in to the aircraft industry. The Kodiak 100 has been known for the touchscreen controller for the environmental control system, the ECS. And we're really excited because being that this is a longer airplane and can fly higher, one thing that's really going to be important is heating, because the higher you go, the colder the air is. And so we actually were able to pipe bleed air from the engine through the entire cabin. So one of the test flights I did was up at 25,000 feet with passengers, everybody on oxygen. It was negative 40 degrees Celsius up there, and the cabin stayed at 70 degrees Fahrenheit the entire flight. It was amazing how well the heat system worked. People were comfortable, even in the way tail of the airplane. The all-new interior is really my favorite part of the airplane because I feel like any need you might have or any use you might have for the Kodiak, we've thought about all of those things and really made this an owner's airplane where it does everything really well.
Right now, public safety is probably the largest special mission. And that encompasses everything from law enforcement to intelligence for the DoD. Persistent surveillance is the key word. We can put eyes on the ground for a longer period of time, whereas helicopters, outstanding asset, but they are limited in their capacity to stay airborne. So 45 minutes versus 10 hours. The Garmin 1000 system in it is outstanding. It has all kinds of incorporations for search and rescue, maintaining situational awareness in the aircraft.
We have pre-installed a bunch of circuit breakers for special mission use, or for anybody really that wants to add more features to the airframe. And then that way they can just put a label on the circuit breaker and run their wire to the back of the power distribution panel and then run it wherever it goes. So we've really thought about trying to make the airframe support the end user from the get-go. We were able to integrate WireWare into the feature set for the new model Kodiak as it can really fly anywhere. So that way you have the power lines that get lit up in addition to the your normal TAWs. This really is another really cool feature just to keep the pilot safe. I would say the biggest challenge probably was building the wire harness for the fuselage and the engine from scratch. We were able to really use the NX Siemens design tool that we have to really 3D modeled everything and then laid it out flat on a big long sheet of paper. We rolled out the wires, cut it ourselves. The installers down there did a great job of connecting everything, and then We put it in the airframe and it fit pretty much exactly like we designed it. So that was a challenge, but it was also one of probably the most rewarding challenge.
So at the end of the day, the most important thing is safety, right? Safety of the air crew, so you can provide that safety on the ground. The Kodiak is the safest airplane that I've ever flown, and you can't find a better aircraft for special missions.
Certification of an airplane is actually a really difficult process that involves showing compliance with a whole bunch of regulations. So there's a wide variety of things that we do.
The more modern the standards that the aircraft is certified to really are important, because you can have two 2022 or 2023 aircraft and one is certified to 30-year-old standards, and like the new Kodiak, it's certified to today's standards. And I find that to be a very important element to really educate people about, because it is safety related.
We did a lot of, it's called abuse control maneuvering. Spin testing is what it is. It's really almost impossible to spin this airplane. I tried and I tried and I tried. And we had a whole test plan approved by the FAA of what we were going to attempt in order to spin the airplane, and we just couldn't get there.
To speak to the reliability or the durability of the Kodiak, I could refer to the functional reliability testing we were doing on it, and we did a rollback test where you take off, and at 50 feet you cut the engine and you land straight ahead on the runway. It's a pretty aggressive maneuver, and the FAA's definition of passing is for the pilots to survive the test.
So at about 50 feet after takeoff, we'll bring the engine back to idle rapidly, and then at whatever speed we are at that 50 feet, attempt to land again. A landing from that height with no power, which simulates an engine failure immediately after takeoff, is not going to be graceful. There's no flare involved in that landing. It's just really a controlled crash. I guess my Navy experience was useful there, because I'm used to a lot of hard landings on the aircraft carrier, and it felt a lot like a lot of those landings on the carrier.
The airplane pretty much flattened out with the landing gear, came right back up, and no issues, which is pretty impressive.
We walked away, and I was able actually to taxi the airplane back and fly home. We did a lot of engine shutdown, probably shut down the engine on the order of 40 or 50 times in a single flight.
You ready to go shutdown? I'm ready. Okay, here comes the shutdown. There's the shutdown.
And it restarted every single time, right? Reliability is another thing we're shooting for in this aircraft, and I can say without a doubt, this is a very reliable airplane.
The Kodiak 100 was certified to Amendment 55 standards. This is certified to Amendment 63 standards, the new Kodiak. Not only did the Kodiak pass, the new Kodiak passed with flying colors. You know, if I had one airplane to fly me and my family in, it would definitely be the Kodiak.
We are available. I think that's a big difference, right? A quick email to Kodiak Care comes all the way to my desk in engineering within minutes of its arrival into their mailbox.
When a customer has an issue, they're going to pick up the phone, they're going to call us, and they'll get a person. It doesn't matter where they are, what time of the day it is, we will work with them to solve their issue, whatever it is. We're able to take the maintenance program and build a program that the customers can take delivery of their aircraft, and it's essentially hands-off from then on. For the first 4 years, the aircraft maintenance is covered at any of our Kodiak authorized service centers, and the warranty is covered as well. So all of your scheduled items, all of your warranty, all of that stuff is going to be covered. For the direct operating costs, while it's underneath the Kodiak Care program, it's extremely low. When people join the Kodiak family, they get that personal level of support. I mean, they'll have my cell phone number. I'll answer that 24/7. It's really part of being a family. I mean, we're there to support them.
General aviation has a lot of new products coming to market, and it's exciting. And we're going to be one of those products, and I think it's going to It's going to shift the way people think, because they've always thought to go this fast and to get to the destinations they need to get to, they have to go to a pressurized or twin engine or more complicated aircraft. And you don't have to with the Kodiak. You don't have to go to the complexity to get there.
I think the best engineering is a blend of art and math and physics, etc. I feel like we have hit that on the new Kodiak, and it's fun to see it come to fruition at this point.
I really think this new Kodiak is a game changer. The Kodiak 100 broke new ground and has been a true miracle of backcountry aviation, flying all over the world. The TBM is the fastest turboprop, known for luxury, its build quality, and this new Kodiak today takes the best of the Kodiak 100, the best of the TBM, and brings it into a new product, and we're really excited to debut it.
Make sure that you continue to follow us, because we are committed to the future and making sure that we can provide the best and the greatest and continue to evolve in our product roadmap.